You know what? I shouldn't have. I gave away my original Switch at the Christmas party, and I realized I'm an idiot. It was an OG one. It was moddable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a yikes.
That's okay. I've got the OLED now, and realistically, I pay for all my Switch games anyway. So it's one of those things where, like, oh man, I hate to come back to like the piracy conversation again. It's one of those things where, you know, from my point of view, I'm at a stage in my life where it's kind of not worth the hassle, if that makes sense. Like even if I had some kind of strong moral objection, like here, you know what? Wow. Okay, this is a hot take. I'm going to give you guys an example of something that I would consider to be ethical piracy, all right? There's a rumor that Nintendo's working on a new Mario Party that will come out for the Switch. Okay? When that came out, if I discovered that Nintendo had fixed the cutscene skip issue in the new one, when they've continued to refuse to patch it in the old one, I would just pirate the new one outright.
Okay.
Because to me, it makes the game...
But he's saying pirate.
...utterly unplayable.
Yeah.
Utterly unplayable. Mario Party, whatever the one on Switch is, to play the actual board game, have you tried it? They make you sit through the instructions every single time.
I think I tried it once, and I remember it being super tedious, and I think that was the reason why I didn't try it again. Super
tedious.
Yeah.
And every time you play, you have to hear all the instructions, all the general game instructions, and it even asks you. It asks you at the beginning, have you played before? And you say, yes. And it tells you how to play.
Usually the games are incredibly simple too. Like you don't even necessarily need instructions ever.
And I'm not even talking about the mini games. I'm talking about it tells you all the rules of the board game.
Oh no. Okay.
So what should be a 25-minute game full of mini games takes an hour. It literally doubles how long it takes to play the game. It's really frustrating. And so basically what I'm saying is if Nintendo, knowing about this issue, which is simple to patch, skippable cutscenes are basic. And if they patched it in the new version, I would consider that to be ethical piracy. Sorry. I paid you guys for a game. I paid the full price. It's basically unplayable. I haven't touched it since the first 2 weeks because that issue just makes it makes it a complete waste of time for me.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is make the cutscene skippable. If I could press a button and skip it, no problem. And so it's just that kind of just completely, man, it's not even apathy. It's like actual malice towards your users. Why are you doing
There's
this
a lot.
to me?
It's weird because Nintendo is seen as the friendly, happy company. And then, they have a lot of things that are just so intensely anti-consumer. It's very interesting. I'm a fan of Nintendo products. I basically auto-buy any console that they release. I'll pretty much auto-buy any Mario platformer they ever release. But there's some really brutal things.
Whiskey Nerd 88 says, so what Linus is saying is I should pirate Borderlands for PC since Xbox will not let me play it on their PC launcher.
He's not saying you should.
I have actually talked about that before. I've talked about that specific use case where you have purchased a license for a particular piece of content and for whatever reason, whether it's a region lock, which personally I find pretty ridiculous and anti-consumer, whether it's a region lock or whether it's a platform lock, not a big fan. Now, there are cases where I think that you get into very, very shaky ethical ground for that. Like, for example, if we finally got a PC port of, say, a game that will never come to PC, like God of War. Okay? If we finally got a PC port for it, and you kind of go, oh, well, I'm mad about something, so I'm not going to give them any money for this. I can tell you right now that we're probably not going to get another PC port.
I loved that they did it and immediately bought one because I was stoked about it.
So basically, you have to kind of consider the message that you are sending. So in the case of the Borderlands one, honestly, I find it pretty offensive that I can buy a copy of a game that runs on my Xbox and doesn't run on my PC. I'm calling on you to make your own decision. All I said in my tweet is you got to be aware of the impact. And that's what I'm saying right now. You've got to consider the impact. If we don't support your indie developers, or we don't support the change that we want to see in the world, like getting PC ports of formerly exclusive titles, then you are definitely part of the problem and part of the reason that will keep going. Now, if you decide, oh, you know what, the port was bad, then the answer is don't play it, right?
Or request a refund.
Yeah. So those are sort of those are all of the decisions that you've got to weigh for yourself. That's all I said. Be aware. Mechanical Eve. Oh man, I guess we're talking about this more. Thoughts on Abandonware?
Isn't that like I think that's, see, this is where we're running into that problem where like there's an actual thing that is abandonware, right? And once something becomes technical abandonware, then no, it is legally not piracy anymore, I believe, once it is technically abandonware. But do they mean technical abandonware? Or do they mean like it's been abandoned, but it's not technically abandonware yet?
Yeah, I am not sure. Like something like GoldenEye 007, you know, where it's in rights holder hell.
Yeah.
Should you just pirate that game because you will never be able to buy it on Virtual Console?
And the only way you're actually going to go buy it is buying it from a secondhand situation, anyways.
Yeah, where there's literally no money going.
The creator is not getting money from that, anyways.
Yeah. That's a tough one, guys. That's a tough one. Personally, I would without any guilt just play that game or use that software if there's no legal way to acquire it. But you got to make your own choices.
It's hard to give suggestions for this type of stuff. You just have to understand the impact that you're having and make the decision for yourself.
Yeah, Micro7 says, Linus, you didn't say beware of the impact. You defined ad blocking as piracy regardless of what the website's terms are, but the website's terms don't enter into it. I said consider the impact. The impact of not paying for something is that you pirated it. That's the impact. You just have to decide whether you're comfortable with that. Aight? Cool. Mechanical Evie says, yeah, I mean old vintage games you literally can't buy on any platform. Yeah. So that's one of those topics that could be an entire show, honestly, because there's so many weird edge cases, right? Like what if it's Final Fantasy Tactics, right? The PlayStation 1 version. What if I don't want to play the remastered version? What if I don't want a bunch of the names of the items and stuff to have changed? I want to have exactly the same experience that I had when I was a kid and I will accept nothing else. I don't want to buy the mobile version because I don't want to play on mobile controls or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's where you get into like, I don't know, whatever you want to tell yourself, man. So,
and there's weird ways that you can justify that. And again,
sure,
these aren't suggestions, but something that you could do is buy the remastered version. Don't even like install it and then just pirate the OG version and play it that way. If you think that's a justification and you're okay with that and you're okay with the variety of things that come with that, then great. If not, then don't do it. You just need to understand, like you said, understand the impact and then do what you're going to do.
Yep.
Make a decision for yourself. Cool.
I love, this is a really great question. Knock23 over on Floatplane says, if I pay for Floatplane, can I block ads on YouTube? I'm paying you directly for the content and can already access it without ads. Okay, so here's the challenge. Again, this comes down to your own personal ethics because as we've discussed before, ad blocking is not illegal, strictly speaking, right? So it's up to you. But the thing to consider is that Google is paying for that bandwidth. They are paying for that video hosting. Now, you might say, well, Susan's going to get her paycheck either way, which is, I think, one of the responses on Floatplane to you. And so, yeah, if you sleep perfectly fine at night, knowing that Google has literally billions upon billions and billions of dollars in the bank, and you feel like they're probably not going to miss it, then that's your own personal decision.
He's not telling you what to do. At no point in time has he told you what to do.
I actually didn't. I didn't.
Yeah. I think that's a big part that's being missed as well.
There's no skin off my back, that's for sure.
There's a merch message from Joshua H. who says, if I ad block creators who aren't eligible for AdSense, is it piracy? In the exact same thing that Linus just said. YouTube is still paying. YouTube is still paying for the servers. YouTube is still delivering you that video.
Those data centers ain't free.
Big money.
Huge money. I mean, YouTube was run at a loss for so long. Like, so long. And yeah, I think they're squeezing us a little now. Honestly. I mean, I pay for YouTube Premium because I can't stand ads on YouTube.
There's a lot of ads. There's a lot of double unskippable ads. That breaks me.
I've seen a triple.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, I might have been 1 skippable and 2 unskippable or something, but I was just like, I was not, because I have like 18 Google accounts, right? Because one for every channel.
Yeah, so you're sometimes logged into the wrong one and it plays ads. It's so annoying.
Yeah, and so I'm like, triggered, and I need to switch over to the thing. Listen to these fools literally pandering for Google. Are you kidding me?
No,
we're not.
We're not telling you what to do. We're just
telling you that things cost money in the actual real world. Things cost money.
Ugh.
Oh, man. And Knock23 says, thanks for saying my name properly. I pirate everything, but I want to make Daddy Linus happy. You actually do not pirate everything. You pay for Flowplane. You're on Flowplane. You do not pirate that. So that is one thing you didn't pirate.
Yeah.
Or Privateer.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. We are switching to Privateer from now on.
I like it.
I'm super happy.
I privateered some games that I emulate.
There's so many good ethical conversations that have come up from this. Tim SP on Floatplane says, they ran at a loss for so long because they wanted to kill all the competition. What if I don't want to reward Google for killing all the competition?
Then don't do it.
Then we're
not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Stop. Come on.
Do your thing. Oh, man.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
Figure it out, bud.
Oh, man.
Merch message from Anonymous. Devil's Advocate. I think you're just advocating for your own position, but that's okay. How does LTT feel about the fact that I pay for, speaking that it's literally saying the Devil's Advocate. Anyways.
I am the devil. I am my own advocate.
How does LTT
Hear me, mortals, and tremble.
How does LTT feel about the fact that I pay for premium to avoid ads? Again, we're not talking about what we feel like. Anyways, that I pay for premium to avoid ads, but every LTT video and everyone else skirts that and serves me a 30+ second ad read. We are both in the wrong. Is their statement at the end.
Yeah, so YouTube Premium does not entitle you to not viewing embedded sponsor callouts in the content. Also, one of the things that, again, comes down to just personal ethics is that we intentionally make our sponsor reads on LTT highly skippable, so to speak. So the reason that we do our first sponsor read right before the animated intro, which is about 8 seconds long,
you can scrub to see the end of the animated
intro. It
intro.
is basically impossible to accidentally right arrow and miss any content, because you should land somewhere in the intro unless you manage to really bung it up, right? And then the reason that we do the second one right at the very end is so that it's at the end and it's over. The video, like sometimes we'll do fun little Easter eggs and stuff at the end, or we'll throw on another little thing or whatever the case may be. I mean, obviously we want you guys to hear the message from our sponsor so that they will pay us. So there's stuff like that, but we actually do go out of our way to make those reads as palatable as possible. We try to have fun with them. We try to add the segues. We try to make it a non-intrusive aspect of the content. And that was a very intentional decision because I don't like having ads and sponsorships shoved down my face. That's also the reason that we don't run YouTube mid-roll unskippable ads. We simply do not run them. It used to drive me absolutely crazy. This was another bash my head through the wall kind of thing. When people would accuse us of making a video 10 minutes and 1 second long so that we can get more money, when there was no mid-roll ad on it.
That was so epic. That happened so much.
So much.
That was so crazy.
It was so painful. It hurt my brain every single time I read it. It's like, we don't get paid for uploading a 10-minute and 1 second video, right? We don't get paid extra.
I'd see that on other channels too. That was definitely a YouTube-wide thing because enough people just talked about making more money from 10-minute videos that enough people just didn't understand. A lot of the audience was just like, oh, okay, they make more money. I don't need to know any more than this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's the ability to put a mid-roll in. That's what's going on.
Yeah. So if we didn't do it, then hey, there you go. So yeah, from your point of view, maybe you don't like it. From my point of view, I feel like we've met in the middle. We've tried to compromise. We've tried to make it as reasonable as possible. But as you can see, 35% of our income is from those spots, so they ain't going away anytime soon. Because if we just stopped doing them outright, then that would be impactful.
rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty rough.
Pretty rough.